Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Thursday, December 7th regular meeting of the Police and the Fire Commission. Let the record show Vice President Will Roloff, Commissioners Dorf, Laux, and Goldhahn are all present. Commissioner Cobb will be joining us probably likely mid-meeting. You all received the agenda in the mail, so if there are no changes or additions, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
There's a motion by Commissioner Dorf.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Laux. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And we have approval of the minutes from the last regular meeting we had on September 7th. There are no questions or changes. I'll entertain a motion to approve those
Move
minutes.
to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Dorf.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Laux. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? All right. Approval of the minutes. Informational reports. I don't have anything new to report. It's good to see everybody back again. It's been a long time since we've had a regular meeting, since we generally schedule these meetings in conjunction with interviews. So I'll turn it over to the report from the chiefs.
All right, well, I guess I'll start. About a year ago, I got a pretty good phone call, so I appreciate that. That's my 1 year anniversary of working up here is quickly approaching, so just want to say thanks again, and it's been a great year so far. I think we've accomplished quite a few things and look forward to our future. So some of the things we're working on now is our recruiting and testing process, and we're going to be speaking about that next, is the next agenda item. We just had our quarterly command staff meeting this week. We discussed in depth some new training that we're going to be doing based upon some risk assessments. That's going to be included some marine firefighting training for our shipboard firefighting, and then also reinstitution of our urban search and rescue team. So some pretty significant teams and some pretty significant programs that we have in place. And both of them are extensively supported by grant efforts. So both state grants and then some federal grants that we received for funding of training for our personnel for those. So we have ongoing work with our new potential fire station administrative headquarters, so that is progressing quite well. Pretty exciting so far, and certainly look for a future with that. Currently, we're working with our local for negotiations, and those are going well so far, and we continue to work to that to get a contract resolution. In 2024, you'll also receive some notification of our strategic plan. This is a process we're going to go through next year. We're contract with an outside contractor to come in and help us with this process, and certainly our goal with this strategic plan is to get community input, input from our personnel, and input from stakeholders, various stakeholders, to really make sure we're driving what our future looks like for Green Bay Metro Fire Department. So again, thanks for a great year, and look forward to many more.
Chief, will that strategic plan include some of the neighboring jurisdictions that we trade services with?
Yeah, I think so. Certainly, the organizations, the villages that we contract with, yes, and also surrounding departments will have some input into that too. Again, the goal of this is to not just our department, what we feel or what I feel should be, but more so what is right. And I think the best model to get that is all the various stakeholders, get them all at the table.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? All right, thank you. Chief Davis.
So over at the police department, we're right now at about 180 sworn. We anticipate 3 vacancies happening between now and the end of the year. 2 of those are our 2 most senior police officers, Detective Brad Biller and Officer Kelly Molitor. They'll be retiring on the same day at the end of next week. We have a hiring process going, and then we are in some stage of the process of either posting for or doing selection processes for pretty much every promoted rank in the police department, from sergeant, lieutenant, captain, and commander. We just posted captain and commander vacancies in the last couple of weeks. We anticipate those processes happening in the beginning of next year, probably mid-January, and we'll be looking for hopefully someone from the PFC who's available to sit on those interview processes for those. And then just on the internal front, we're continuing on our project to overhaul our accountability processes. But to this point, we've implemented upgraded processes for complaint intake and handling decision-making and documentation. And what we've seen, we're about a year into this new process, and predictably, we've seen a lot more numbered complaints because we give every complaint a number and we document what the disposition is. And what we're finding is about 78% of those are declined at intake. So in our policy, there's criteria for declination, the most common one being even assuming everything that the complainant is telling us is true, what they're alleging isn't a policy violation. That's the most common declination we see. So it's about between that and then a new process for service improvement opportunities, so your lower level, just opportunities to learn something about providing better service. That's the vast majority of our complaints that end up in those places, and then we have options for administrative investigations as well. The next phase in that process is to roll out a policy on how administrative investigations are conducted, and we've sent that out for internal review among all the command folks, and we're going to do what we call our executive reconciliation here next week, hopefully at our next week's policy meeting, and then we're going to send that out department-wide for universal review to give everybody in the organization the opportunity to weigh in on that, and then we anticipate implementing that probably by the end of January. And then after that, we'll take on corrective action next. We have a draft of a corrective action matrix that I believe I've circulated to the entire PFC. And there's just some policy that needs to go with that so we can implement it. But it's a more just objective and consistent means of deciding what corrective action goes with what kind of policy violations. And other than that, the last piece of news I will share, some really good news, is our gun violence measures are down significantly. We're a little more than half the number of shots fired calls that we had by this time last year. And then the other metric that we look at is the number of shell casings collected, and that's down significantly as well. And that owes to some really great work by the men and women of the police department.
Because the bad guys using revolvers now, is it?
Yeah, maybe. I like to think it's some impact of the work the officers are doing.
Yeah,
But
of course.
Chief, what specifically were they doing? Was this like a community outreach type thing? Was it, talking to stakeholders and trying to get the kids, or, I mean, what was the drop? What do you?
It's a number of things. On the investigative side, we implemented some new technology and we devoted a lot of effort to solving any kind of gun violence case, even if it's shots fired with no one hit, and making an arrest as quickly as possible, because in the sort of group dynamic related gun violence situations, there's a retaliatory cycle that happens. Someone comes and shoots up someone else's house or their car, or shoots them. Well, now we're looking for this person for retaliation. If we can take the suspect off the street as quickly as possible, now they're someplace where no one can retaliate against them. And so we did a lot of that. And then we implemented our neighborhood response team, which is, it's 2 officers, but that's a patrol-based team that went out and just got to know all of the people involved in that problem citywide, and whatever they could do. I mean, obviously enforcement is always an option if people insist on engaging in criminal activity, but trying to connect them with resources or something else to try and get them out of that life. And then the next phase of the plan actually has started. Between the mayor's office, the Office of Community Development, and we helped the mayor's office establish the Office of Violence Prevention. They fired their director, Jerry Overstreet, and he's in the process right now of spooling up that work to eventually they'll employ violence interrupters who can go out and try and make some of those social service connections for folks that sometimes it's harder for police to. And then we've also implemented some best practices from other cities around shooting reviews. So every time we have a shooting in the city, there's a group that comes together, including the OVP director, all of the detectives, people from all the corners of the police department. Still a work in progress, but eventually the vision is to have parole and probation and any other stakeholders there, just to get an update so we're all on the same page about what happened and where the risk for retaliation might be, or other things that we can do to take the temperature down in the community. And then the OVP will start another practice called call-ins, where if you have somebody who's either a victim or maybe sometimes a perpetrator of gun violence, or it's just the person who's associated with these people and they're showing up a lot at these incidents, we might do a call-in where we bring them, maybe their parents if they're a juvenile, and the message that they get is, look, we're here to help you if you want. We've got all kinds of services we can tailor to your needs if that's going to help you. But also, we got to tell you, if you're going to persist in this activity, there's consequences for that. So, all in all, it's been a lot of work.
Sure. Do you keep statistics on how many guns you're actually taking off the street?
We do, yeah.
Okay.
And actually, those are, I can pull them up here, but those are included in the weekly statistical and media updates that we send out to the commission.
Chief, on the complaints for the decline in intake, is the loop closed then with the complainant to say this is why we're not going to proceed on this?
Yes, in our policy, there's a disposition letter that they're supposed to get. I'm not sure that that has been happening 100% of the time, but as we finish implementing this process, yeah, there would be actually a letter that they get that would explain to them the rationale.
Did you say 78% of them are not, do not continue because they're not policy violations? Is that?
78% of them are declined at intake,
Okay.
and the majority of those are things that they're, even if what they're alleging is true, wouldn't violate policy. There are other declination criteria,
Okay.
like, it's an officer from another agency. There's not enough information to identify who the officer was. Occasionally you'll get one that's completely irrational and impossible on its face. Those are a little more rare. Usually what it is someone's not happy with the outcome, but it turns out, even if that's exactly what happened, the officer followed policy.
Okay. I got a ticket and everything, so I'm complaining about, okay.
Right, that actually would be a different declination criteria of other judicial review, where your recourse, if you don't believe that you should have been issued that ticket or you didn't do it, is a court rather than us, because we don't want to get in between defendants and the court in their legal process.
Is that process documented on the website, or can you send me a copy of?
Sure, the policy should be on the website, but I can send you all the policy.
The reason I ask is that for complaints that come into the PFC, I force those to be a phone conversation with me, and the first question I ask the person is, have you filed a complaint with the police department? And if the answer is no, I encourage them that should be their first step rather than go to the PFC. And so the more information I have about the details of that process, the more information I can give them. And that's stopped most of the complaints to the PFC, is making sure that they understand and reinforcing to them that they're all followed up on it, and you'll hear back from them with the answer.
Sure. Yeah, I'll send you a copy of it.
All right, good. Great.
Chief, I don't ever remember seeing the discipline matrix. And you said that it was sent out. I don't remember seeing that. Can you give me a copy of that?
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
I'll just send both of those things to everybody, because it sounds like maybe not everybody got it.
All right, any other questions? Okay. Next is the Fire Department, Chippewa Valley Regional Fire hiring process.
Right, so, and Jennifer tried to go into, but we are we're currently open, accepting applications for that potential spring hire. We will make sure that you have the list of anticipated dates. We did leave a period of about a month period to work with your busy schedules to try and schedule a time in there for the interviews. That would be January 15th through February 15th would be the kind of the block that we have set aside. And then we'll work to schedule that. At this time, we look to hire perhaps 3 to 4 individuals. We do have 2 individuals that are on our current eligibility list that would be also eligible for hire at that point too.
And that process is the same as we used last year?
That's
So-
correct.
So we don't need any kind of approval or anything
No,
from the commission?
same-
That's
same
just a-
process
It's
as
more
we did last year.
informational.
Yes.
Okay, great. Any questions? Well, with that, Chief, I think that's all of the fire department related
Good
things,
deal. Well,
so.
thank you.
Thanks to the one people to see.
Yep.
I
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do you want a motion to receive and place on file?
Sure, that's a good idea. So we'll entertain a motion to receive that and place on file.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Boyle.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Dorf. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we'll receive, place that on file. Thank you, Chief.
I apologize for being late, but I was doing employee emails, I looked at my clock, I'm like, supposed to be at PFC 10 minutes ago.
Well, you're just right on time.
Just right on time.
Yeah. Right where you belong here. And the next is the Police Department Lieutenant promotional process. Again, that was in your pre-read packet. And again, if I'm not mistaken, that's the same as we've used in the past. This is just reinforcing to the commission that this is the process. Any questions on that? And we can receive that, we place it on file. There's a motion? Do that.
So
Motion.
moved. Or second.
Moved by Commissioner Lauk, seconded by Commissioner Dorf to receive the Police Department Lieutenant promotional process, to receive that and place on file. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Receive that and place on file. Next item is the budget status report and the budget spreadsheet. Those were also in your packet, and again, a reminder that there was some confusion at the budget setting time for the police department, so the budget was zero. ARPA funds were used to pay for that, for all the spending up to this year, and the fire department spending continues to be well under the original budget on that item. So I will entertain a motion to receive those and place on file.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Boyle, second by Commissioner Laus. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed. In consideration with possible action on the request to approve the monthly bills, 2 bills in there, one from the psychiatric eval for police officer candidates and one for the physicals. So if there are no questions, I'll entertain a motion to approve payment.
Move to pay the bills.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Dorf and a second by Commissioner Laux. Pay the bills and stay so. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. All right, the next one is, well, actually, we have 3 different closed session items. So I will read the closed session script for each one. We'll go into one closed session for the 3 of those, and coming out of those, I will issue 3 separate reports for each of the closed sessions. So the first one is consideration with possible action on the request for promotion to the rank of police detective. The commission may convene in closed session pursuant to sections 19.85, paragraph 1, sub CNF, Wisconsin statutes to consider employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercise responsibility. The commission may thereafter reconvene in open session pursuant to sections 19.85, paragraph 2, Wisconsin statutes, to report the results of the closed session and consider the balance of the agenda. The next item, item 4, is consideration with possible action on the review of patrol officer candidate backgrounds. The same verbiage on the closed session statement, so I won't read it again, but we have the same one, and the last one is interviews with patrol officer candidates. Please take note that pursuant to section 19.85, paragraph 1, sub CNF Wisconsin statutes, the commission may convene a closed session for the purpose of interviewing, evaluating, and considering employment of patrol officer candidates. Is there a motion to go into closed session for those 3 items?
Motion to go in close.
Motion by Commissioner Laus, seconded by Commissioner Boyle. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We'll go to closed session. All right, we are back in open session. Following closed session, we completed 3 agenda items, item F, 3, 4, and 5 on the agenda, and I'll report each of those individually, and at the end, I will ask for one motion to confirm that report. Agenda item number 3, consideration with possible action on a request for promotion to the rank of police detective. I am happy to report that the commission unanimously confirmed the promotion of Jess Ball and Jeff Braun to the rank of detective. Swearing in will take place later this month. Agenda item number 4, consideration with possible action on the review of patrol officer candidate backgrounds. We reviewed 12 backgrounds. There were 3 voluntary withdrawals, 7 rejections, and 2 continuations in the process. In agenda item number 5, we conducted interviews with 2 patrol officer candidates and chose to continue both of those in the hiring process. So I'll ask for a motion to confirm that report.
Motion to confirm.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Laux, a second by Commissioner Boyle-Roloff. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We have unanimous consent of the votes. And that completes our agenda, so entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Motion by Commissioner Dorf,
Second.
second by Commissioner Boyle-Roloff. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you all very much. Continue to be